Hey, it's Angie with News OK.
And Sherrel.
And Sherrel is our passion for food columnist for the Oklahoman. It is winter time, which is the perfect time for stew, and she has got a wonderful stew for winter. Is this a beef stew?
Beef stew, just the classic beef stew. And if you hesitate to make it, I call it the can-do stew because it's so easy to make.
And the food is provided by Buy for Less.
Buy for Less has provided the food, and they had some beautiful stew meat.
Okay.
This is about 1 pound, and I cut the pieces in half because they were large. But if you have super he-men in your family that want big old chunks of meat, you can leave it alone and do it that way.
Okay.
And I like to cut up my vegetables, have everything ready, and I have a little sack with some flour in it. And by the way, we have this recipe in the Oklahoman.
So you just put it in the sack of flour. Wow.
I'm putting it in a little sack of flour.
Okay. That's
so I'm just going to drop these little pieces in. Shake them around a little bit to coat them, and then they're coated with the flour like this.
Okay.
And we're going to put them in to brown. Okay, once the meat has started to brown and we start to see all of this fond on the bottom of the pan, I'm going to start adding my onions around it. Not too many, but just enough to kind of fill in the blanks. I'm going to put a little salt on it. Once I turn the meat, you can add the salt at any time, and just a small amount to start with. You can always adjust the seasoning. Now, when the onions become translucent and they're starting to pick up a little bit of this browning material from the pan, it's time to deglaze. Now, you can use beef stock, or I had a little dab of red wine left, and so I'm just going to pour that in the pan, and you kind of hear the sizzle. And I stir that around. And then you can begin to add your stock. And the vegetables. And I've already cut those up, and I have carrots. This is just for a classic stew. And I found these wonderful new potatoes to use, and I don't even have to peel them. I just cut them with the jackets on. And that adds a little extra flavor, I think. So we're going to put our carrots in and our potatoes, and I'm using a little bit of celery. Those are the basic things you would put in. You could always add some other ingredients later on. I'm also going to add some stewed tomatoes. And this should bring, and you know, you may want to kind of chop these up a little bit as you add them.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that looks so good.
It already looks good, doesn't
it?
Yeah. Well, and then, now you may need to add a little more broth if you're going to put additional vegetables in it. You could add green beans. You could actually add some bell peppers, or even some hot peppers.
Now, does this need to sit for a while?
Well, what I'm going to do is cover it.
Okay.
I'm going to, first of all, let this come up to a simmer.
Okay.
And then I'm going to put the lid on it, and I'm going to turn the stew down to a low temperature.
Okay.
And let it just simmer. And I'll check on it about every 30 minutes or an hour just to be sure that it's doing all right at this point. But in about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, you have the most fabulous stew. And I have one simmering away right here just to show you. And it's a little different pot. But this works. Actually, this is bubbling away.
Oh, this looks so good.
I know. I can't wait for you to taste it.
That is amazing.
And it's relatively it's very simple to do, as you say, and you can do a lot of other things while the stew is stewing.
That is wonderful.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, so this recipe will be in the Oklahoman in the Life section. Check out Sherrel Jones' Passion for Food column in the Oklahoman. Wonderful stew. Great stew for winter when it's kind of chilly outside.
Right, and you can see why I call it the can-do stew.
I know. Even I could do it. Okay, thank you so much.